Hello and welcome to Word Basics. I am Holly Rader. I work for the Chester County Independent as a writer. I do photography and I'm also involved in some of the general layout. Today we are going to be covering just a few of the very many things that you can do in Word, from projects to create, letters to write, lots of different options. First thing that we will do to begin is open the program. To do this, you're going to either click on the icon at the bottom of the screen in the black bar at the bottom, or go down to the window icon, the start menu at the lower left, and scroll till you find Word. There are many different things that you can do when you're starting in Word. Your first screen, we have Home, New, Open. In the Home menu, it just has very general, few different things maybe that you've done recently or that you've used more often in the past. Open would be to go to open projects that you have created you've already created that are saved, whether from a file, from a external drive, or somewhere you would go and search for them there. While we're still on the home screen, I want to draw you over to take a tour. If you have never used Word before, this is a great place to start. The program itself will take you through and show you how things work and how to find different options, how to create different projects. If you are familiar with it, you still might learn something from going over there. We are going to go back over to New to start for today. And when we go to that screen, we have, it's kind of, if you notice, it's the same thing that we had up here. But then when we scroll down, there's lots and lots of templates. You can take these, any of them, open it up, change the information to include your information, whatever you want to include. Change the colors, the pictures, the font, personal information, whatever it is that you want to include for yours. There are so many different templates. You'll notice the suggested searches, some of the ideas of things you might be looking for. Business templates, cards, flyers, letters, education, resumes, holiday. So you might want to do Christmas cards or business labels, mailing labels, business cards, calendars, you see that, event flyers, baby announcements, report cards, just anything that you can imagine you can create. And if you want a little bit of help with that, finding a template is a great place to start. So you can look for office or personal. And personal would be something that you have created in the past that is your own template you tend to use often, whether it's a letterhead or just anything that you might adapt to something you use often. So today we're going to start with a blank document. And just so we have something to play with, we're going to pretend like we're writing a letter. Just a small note. And that should be a question mark, shouldn't it be? I don't know. I'm sure I could think of much more exciting things to say. And there we go. So, just to start with this very basic information, let's explore the very top. And here I'd like to take a moment, and something that I always say in all of the classes I do, don't be afraid of your computer. Computers are, yes, vast. I mean, there are so many options and so many buttons and so many paths you can go down, I guess. It used to be, computers used to be a lot more sensitive, maybe, or, you know, you could just push a couple of buttons and crash your computer. And they don't do that anymore. It's so easy to kind of be scared or be apprehensive of looking into it and really exploring to find out how things work. But don't be afraid to do that. That's one of the very best ways to learn. Go ahead. If you're curious about how things work or what a setting does, click on it and find out. One of the favorite things that, or one of my favorite things on the computer is this little button right here that I'm pointing at the very top. This is the undo button. So if you change a setting and you don't like it, click undo. It's a great option there. You'll notice, let's go ahead and look at the different settings, and we're going to have to move not quite that much, my window down just a little bit so I can see everything at the top of the screen. The recorder covers up part of it, and I wasn't sure quite how much it was covering. Okay, so let's go back up there. First, we have the autosave. You can click that on or off if you want it to save as you go, which is a great plan if you are, you know, working on things. If you tend to forget to save things, or you know, saving often is just a good way to keep from losing a project or to keep up with the changes that you make. Here's your little save icon to save it. It'll also give you the save as option. So you can choose exactly, you know, where you want that to save. The undo we talked about. And then this one is kind of redo. It's the opposite of the undo button. This one is the mouse mode and a custom quick access toolbar. Right here will be the title of your document, a search bar, and then over here, well, behind, there's something blocking that and I cannot see exactly. You've got your minimize, this one, yep, minimize. This makes it smaller, but not necessarily minimal. And then the X to close it out. Let's start back over here. File. Instead of going through every single one of these, because you're going to notice there's lots of things, lots of options, I guess, in each one of these. So take some time on your own to go through and look at every single one of them and scroll through and change the way things look, see how it changes, what it does. There's so many ways you can alter the project so that it looks exactly the way that you want it to. And if it comes down to it, there's always that little help button. And that can be helpful in finding the setting that you're looking for, or how to, how to find that. If you do happen to click that file, you can just click that back arrow and get back to where we are. Okay, home comes back to the project that we're working on as it is. Let's look through here. So first we have the clipboard. This would be if we had any content that we had saved previously, it would be saved with the clipboard, and we could use the paste just to stick it on the page. Your font. Let's play with that a minute. So select whatever part of your font typing that you would like to change, and you can see it'll click up here, or you've got it up here. You can also hit that little arrow. Did you see where that was? This little arrow in the bottom corner? And that opens a bigger box where you can change it and see more clearly what it's going to look like. So I might change it to this font, which obviously isn't available. Let's see. Okay, so this is how that one changed. And then it'll show you as you do each option, what it'll look like. So it's kind of a preview screen to see exactly what it's going to look like. And because I lost that, let's go back to that undo. How about it? Okay, so we want to use the Berlin one. And we also have options for increasing the font, decreasing your font. This one changes the case to sentence where the first one is capital, lowercase, uppercase, if you want to capitalize each word, or the opposite where, the first letter is lowercase and the rest of it is uppercase. So see, we can do that just with a click, which is pretty amazing because you used to have to completely rewrite all of that. And we can change colors. We can highlight it. We can change the way that the type looks this way, giving it a shadow or outline. Moving on to the next block, paragraph. We've got indents and spacing and line and page breaks. So on the spacing, let's say we want to indent, but only we want to indent on the first line of a paragraph. So that would change the first line of each paragraph. And spacing, I don't want any spacing. So I'm going to type that there. Line spacing, single spacing. And you'll see it'll give you a preview at the bottom of what it should look like. Hit OK. And so we've started. The first one is indented 1/2 inch. And that's all the indents we got. Also, within this one, you can add your marks to be able to see where you indented, where the paragraphs are, your editing marks. Or you can put borders. And you'll see as I scroll through how it changes. So that's something else you can play with. This is how you would draw a table if you wanted to do a table or kind of a grid line graph or the table graph. Also, if you want to do borders around the page, let's add a border. Let's make a 3D border. Or no, let's do a shadow border. And we'll make it kind of thick. And here we can either apply it to paragraph. Well, I thought it would apply to the page. You can go into options. We want it pretty far out from the paragraph. And you can see how, again, it gives you a preview of kind of what it would look like. Okay. Look, here's the page border. So that's where we would, let's switch that over to a box. And page border, we'll do that. And again, be brave. Go in here and just play with them. Do all the different selections and see what it looks like. If you don't like it, you can always go back in and change it. Our next block is the styles. So we have normal, headings, and if you notice, it gives you an example. The little block windows pop up that show you what that style would look like. If it was no spacing, the heading one, as we go through each of those. So you can change the way that it looks in that way. And then you have your editing and editor. Editor goes through and checks your writing for you and kind of gives you a little grade on it. Tells you if you have spelling, punctuality, clarity issues, grammar. Apparently, I have a spelling mistake. So let's go see what that is. The spelling mistake it has found is I. And I is lowercase. So the reason, and we're going to go ahead and click that. So, yes, when I clicked that, it went ahead and changed it for me the way I wanted. The reason it was lowercase was because we played with the cases over here, right here, and I just didn't fix it afterward. Although I did note it didn't catch that one. So it may catch some, it may not catch all of it. With this editing block, you can find, if you have a page full of type and you're trying to find one specific part, you can find it, replace, select. So there are several options there. The next thing I would like to do is move on to the insert. And under insert, we have, well, it didn't click there. There we go. Insert changes all of these. We have cover page, tables, illustrations, add-ins, media, links, comments, header and footer, text, symbols. So let's say we wanted to add a photo. We'd click on photos and then decide if the photo is somewhere online we need to find, a stock image, or this device. This will be if you have a photo saved on your computer. And so you'll click on pictures, this device. You can choose, grabbed it already. You can choose where you want to find the photo from, which folder, which part of your computer. I have them saved in a very convenient location for this class. So let's say I want to put picture of my dog. There are a couple of different things I can do. I can either grab it and, I said that on my program I can do that. Let's just click insert and there it goes. Another thing that I could have done would be insert photos, this device. You can also just double click on it. And that was the left mouse button. So I can just double click on that. Now that I have it here, you'll notice this switched over to picture format to give me an option of what I want to do with the photo. We can remove portions of the picture, like the background if we don't want to see it. And so when we click on that, it gives you an option. I can decide if I like that, or if I want to see more, or let's say I wanted to remove more areas. I could do that. If I wanted to, well, okay. Let's use that undo. There we go. We wanted to remove one more, say we just want to use that, which is kind of terrible, but that's okay. So maybe we just want to use that picture of her. That point, you notice when I tried to minimize it, or not minimize it, but change the size of the box, which I suppose isn't necessary, but it changed the size of the picture as well. You can go in and crop. Well, and get the photo that you want. Let's see. Let's add another one. Insert. This time, let's do a shape. And you can scroll down through here also and see the different options that we have. We're going to do an oval, and it leaves it for you to draw. So then you click on it and then drag to see how big you want it. So now we have a circle. We can change the way this circle looks to colors, whether we want to put text in it. Uh, so many options. So let's go back to insert. I'm going to do this picture again. And I keep trying to drag it over. The photo. Now, it may look like you're stumped there, but you just drag, in theory, you'll be able to drag that right out of the way. There we go. And see, it just takes a little bit of moving, dragging things around to get them where you want them. Okay. On our picture format again. Now, got lots of border styles over here. You can change the way the sides of it look. And can change picture effects, the picture border. Go through and play with these to see what they look like, to see how the what the effect is. You can see it over on the photo behind the window, that it kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. Keep scooting us out of there. If it moves off of the photo or off of what you're doing, just click on that area. If it's the text you're wanting to work on, you can click there. If it's the photo, you can click there. There are different picture layouts. Let's say you have a family tree that you'd like to make, or just a photo collage of anything you can think of. These are options that go ahead and automatically give you a place for the photo, and then a place to write text beside it. You can see the background, how it automatically is moving my photo to see what it will look like, to give you a preview of it. Let's see. Again, with the cropping, we are getting a little short on time, so we are going to move on through to design. Design would have more to do with your text. Of course, we don't have a whole lot of text to show you the differences, but you can go through all of these and it will change the basic look of your document, of the text of your document. You can change the colors, your fonts, again, the paragraph spacing, effects. If you want to do a watermark behind what you're writing, you see that on checks and official copies of things or official documents. You can create a watermark all of your own and have it. You see it behind the dog there. You can include it there. You can change the page color, page borders, and then it has some like predetermined themes also that you can choose. On the layout has to do with your margins, how far over from the side of the page that your border starts or that your text starts. So you can move that in and out by changing the numbers on the margins. Orientation is whether your photo or your picture is portrait or if it's landscape, vertical or horizontal. The size of your document you're working with. And this is good for, you may not always be working on the standard 8.5 by 11 size paper. It might be legal paper or the executive paper, or it may be a smaller type of paper. It could be labels or the cards or whatever. But this is where you would change that so you can work on the size for the project that you're creating. Columns, you can choose to have 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns, whether your columns are to the left or to the right. Lots more options there. If you want to break, let's say for some reason at the end of this sentence, I needed a page break, and I can just make a page break, and so it skips to the next page. We'll undo that. The next one, the little paragraph block, you can change your indents and your spacing again. The next one, arrange. There's not as many options here. So when you click on the photo, did you notice suddenly we have lots more options? So for the arrange has to do the way that the text appears around the photo and where the photo appears in the page. You may choose to have the photo at the top with the text below it, or some of the text above and some of the text below. The text wrapping will help you. The different options you can choose will show how the text goes around the writing. If you had like a full page of writing, this is where you can put a picture right in the middle and the words kind of just flow around the photo. And then the alignment and rotating, you can rotate it 90 degrees, depending on what photo you have, obviously, or flip it horizontal. So basically what I ended up doing, yeah, you can flip it back and forth. Sometimes a photo works better one way or the other. Let's see. All right. References. You can create a page with table of contents. Footnotes, if you have, say, it's a paper that you're working on, or several pages of a letter or a newsletter, you want to put a number. Footnotes aren't exactly that, but footnotes would be for, things at the bottom of the page. Research, citations and bibliography, captions. If you wanted to have a little bit of writing right below the photo, index, table of authorities. We're going to be moving a little bit more quickly so that we can finish up by the end of class or by the end of time. Create, under mailings, create envelopes and labels. This would be where you would create the information. You might want to use a photo. Maybe you want to use, a personal photo and then your address and name for your mailing labels, or to print on your envelopes. And this is where you would be able to do that. mail merge, um, see, write and insert fields, preview results, and finish. Review. If you have a long project that you need to keep a word count, this is where you would find your word count. It's another place to find the editor where, again, it will show you if you have mistakes with spelling, grammar, or writing suggestions. Your thesaurus, if you have a word that you need to find something similar to and you can't think of the right word, that's a great place to go. Not all will have the option for the read aloud speech. Again, depending on which version of Word you're using, you may or may not have all of these options, but the very basic ones that we're trying to hit will be available in all of them. Let's see. View. This will show you the way that it will look, depending on what you're doing, whether it's read mode, print, layout. So this is what it would look like when you print the project. That would be if we had, see, there's that circle that I kicked to the next page a while ago. We can change the different looks there, and I don't know if you saw, to go back, you just go to the edit document, but you still have another opportunity to make some changes there. If you're going to do a web layout, you can look at it here, the outline and draft. Let's see. Zooming in, you may have a project, you need to look at it more closely, so that's always helpful. I guess for the last little bit, we want to cover also, at the bottom, if you have a multi-page project, you'll be able to see which page you're working on at a time, the number of words in your project. Down here is where we talked about being able to zoom it in, or it's another place to find that. Here we can easily toggle between the layout views. And one thing I wanted to point out, I don't know if you noticed, there's often 2 or 3 places to find the different settings. You'll find it under one heading, under one menu, and then it's somewhere else, and then you might actually find it, somewhere else on the page as well. So, if you're exploring, like we talked about, more often than not, you're going to find what you're looking for. Just be brave and feel free to look around and explore and click on the different settings and find out how it works and how it looks until you find the way that you really like it. So with our last few minutes, we're going to click over to, there's my timer telling me that I have just a few minutes left. And we are going to, let's see, jump into a template real quick just to show you what that would look like.